here today with Emily Lindstrom?
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about yourself, Emily.
All right. Well, I am 22 years old. I just moved to Boston about 3 months ago, and I'm a writer and an actress.
Okay. What made you come to Boston?
Originally, it was moving to a bigger city. I spent the summer in England working. My boyfriend was in Greece teaching English. We wanted to move to a bigger city to pursue our interests. So because we have a lot of friends in Boston, we thought we'd start here and move possibly to New York or to London or somewhere else. But it's a good place to start.
So why did you pick Boston over New York?
I am of the belief that it's good to be, a small fish in a big pond rather than plop myself down in New York and hope to find work where no one knows my name. It's better to start in a city that's recognized, that has a lot of work available, but isn't quite a labyrinth that New York or LA would be.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You earlier told me that you were working on a novel. Tell me about that book.
Okay. I was born in Tampa, Florida, which is a city that has an amazing history to it. It was
a city that everybody wants to go to.
Yeah, Ybor Square, right away, Party Central. It's a city that is mostly Cuban. I believe the population right now is 75% Cuban. It had a very rich history of cigar factories. The city itself manufactured an enormous amount of cigars. And when World War II hit and cigarettes were becoming the norm for soldiers to carry into war, the cigar industry sort of panned out for a very long time. And my novel is centering around a family that owned a cigar factory for a very long time. And when the Great Depression and the war comes, it's about how they handle these economic changes coming through and basically almost making them impoverished because of lack of industry coming through.
How much research have you done on that?
Quite a bit, quite a bit. I'm a history buff anyway, so it's for me, part of the fun of writing or doing anything is the research part.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of trips down to Tampa, doing a lot of history, a lot of holding up in the library late at night.
Wait, you're in Tampa and you're in the library?
Yep, in Tampa, touring. A lot of the cigar factories have been converted into museums, or when I was growing up, my parents used to take me to this abandoned cigar factory where a mambo band played at night. So, you can tour a lot of these factories, but a lot of them are pretty dilapidated due to neglect.
Do you smoke?
I do not. My dad, though. My dad smoked cigars, and so I grew up smelling his cigars, and he would order them in from Tampa, and, it's sort of an interesting part of history that hasn't really been touched on.
What is your favorite brand of cigar?
Cuban. Actually, my favorite cigar comes from St. Augustine. It's the San Marco de Castillo Robusto. You can get it on George Street. It's wonderful.
And it's street legal.
Yeah, I think it's King George Street in St. Augustine. Wonderful cigar, hand rolled.
So tell me, Emily, what would you like to work on today under hypnosis?
If I had to pick, aside from binge eating, procrastination has always been a huge part of my problem when it comes to completing this novel that I'm writing, and as an actor going out there and basically demanding auditions and demanding to speak to agencies and being a little more assertive. It's very difficult for me. It's very, very difficult to get myself into that mode where I'm willing to just sit down and do the work. It's ever since I was a child, it's always been kind of a problem.
What are some of the things that you're procrastinating on right now?
A lot of it is I've hit a point in my novel writing where I'm far enough into it now where it's that classic saying, there's no turning back. You have to go forward now, and it's me making a lot of excuses now not to sit down and continue writing. It's I'm too busy, or you use, I have an audition to go to, or it's always, you sort of invent something that gets in the way of actually sitting down and doing it.
Right. Is that the only thing that you find yourself procrastinating on?
It's both areas of my life. It's the desire to get into films, get into television. I procrastinate quite often about contacting agencies and searching out auditions and going to casting calls. A lot of it's that. And then in the area of writing, it's always an excuse not to sit down and do the work.
Was there a time where you sit down and you fought hard and you really came to the conclusion that procrastination is involved?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think as a child it became obvious to me. You know, when you're a child, people always say, "Oh, you're just undermotivated. You know, you need to." You know, but when you become an adult and when you're 22, it no longer is a matter of sitting down and doing your homework. It becomes a matter of asking yourself, "Why am I not getting the work done?" You know, it dawned on me probably when I went into college that I had a problem with completing tasks and sticking to them long enough to have a finished project.
Let's change the topic a little bit.
Okay.
On your resume, you told me that you have an IQ of 148.
I do.
Tell us about
hard
that.
to believe,
How
isn't
is
it?
that?
Well, okay, the last IQ test I took was when I was 15, I believe.
Okay.
It was one of those standardized high school IQ tests that you take. So
Okay.
I don't know if maybe college made me dumber, or I can't honestly say that this is a test I took yesterday. But as of 15 years old, that was the census.
And you have maintained the same hair color since then.
I had. If you can believe it, I am a natural blonde. I help it along a little bit. But yes, I can honestly say that it's not induced.
How does that help you?
Being blonde?
Yeah.
It's you stand out. You
Right.
stand out going to casting calls.
Right.
But it's sort of a double-edged sword. I think Marilyn Monroe helped the whole dumb blonde persona to, although she was, a wonderful woman, she kind of, people think blonde, bimbo, flake, so it's a double-edged sword.
Well, you have certainly changed our perspective.
Right, I hope so.
What do you think is the biggest obstacle that you face when you're working on a task and you find yourself procrastinating?
The biggest obstacle for me is imagining the finished product and having it rejected.
Right.
To me is the biggest obstacle of, well, I finally sent this book off to a publisher and I don't hear anything back, or I get a rejection slip. Or I finally walk into this agency to meet with someone and they say, no, not interested.
Right.
That's always the obstacle for me, is imagining the outcome.
If you want to pick one thing, or let's pick two things that you would like to work on today. By that I mean something that you really want to do, and it is within reach, and you're procrastinating on right now. Pick the two things that you would like to work on today.
Well, definitely the novel. I would love to.
What is the title of the book?
It is untitled so far.
All right.
It's been very difficult to find a title so far,
Okay.
so it is as yet untitled.
Okay.
But it would be nice to finish this novel, to
Right.
complete it, or at least get to a point where
Right.
I'm ready to sit down again and put it out there. And I guess more confidence with the field of acting.
Right.
I mean, it's natural to be afraid of how, rejection.
Right.
But it would be nice to be able to just go ahead and do it and not worry about.
What do you need to do to push your acting career forward?
Honestly, I suppose it gets down to then more confidence. More confidence. I believe that procrastination in a lot of ways comes from the fear of failure.
Right.
You give yourself a reason not to complete your task. So
Is it a fear of failure or is it a fear of rejection?
both.
Okay.
Both. I think it's rejection in the field of acting and failure in the fear of finishing a novel and sending it in.
Would you say that the feeling of rejection would define failure in your vocabulary?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So, let's pretend that you're a more improved Emily and more mature Emily, and that you do not have a fear of rejection anymore. Would you also say that will overcome your fear of failure?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we can equate here that it is not that you're afraid your work is not good enough.
Right.
It is because you're obviously a very intelligent person, and at the age of 22, to write a historical novel is quite an accomplishment. Back when I was in age 22, I can't even finish my emails.
Thesis. Exactly. Yeah. Well.
So it is quite an accomplishment that you are already going for it, and you finished college, right?
Yes.
What was your major?
My major was in theater,
Okay.
and then minor in English.
And that was in England?
No, USC.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh wow! This is great. You came from a prestigious college.
Well, not really. It's USC, South Carolina. I was hoping you wouldn't catch me on that. No. My family moved to South Carolina when I was.
I think my roommate.
So
is
it was
from,
University of South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Not University of Southern California. I was hoping you wouldn't ask me about that, Bernard.
I don't know what colleges.
Fingers were just crossed.
Hey, I'm not USA News or.
Right. Okay.
Newsweek. I don't like colleges.
All right. Well, if this makes it to a huge station, let's change that to Yale or something.
Yeah, right. Okay. You're obviously an intelligent person, Harvard graduate.
Yeah, exactly. Yale,
PhD from
Cambridge.
Yeah.
Of course.
And but it is, and you're confident that your work is good, right?
Yes.
But right now you just have this irrational fear that you're gonna get rejected.
Right.
There's absolutely no evidence for that so far, right? Because you haven't sent it to anybody yet,
Right.
and you haven't done enough to push your resume to agency.
Yeah.
So it is not an evidence-based kind of fear, right? Like for me, I should be very afraid. Yeah. But for you, there's no reason to have this fear of rejection. Your work is good. You're smart. You went to Yale.
Right. Yeah.
And
Magna cum laude.
right. So let's pretend that we're in future, and you're the Emily who is improved, and have this confidence that she doesn't think too much about rejection or acceptance, because you're gonna have to accept you work to a lot of people anyways. Let's pretend you're in the future, right? What kind of thinking would you be doing when you're that more improved?
I think more progressive thinking of, well, I've completed this project,
Right.
On to the next.
Right.
It's building up rather than fearing that first step.
Right. And how would you feel?
What you feel when you have that sense of accomplishment, that when you achieve one task, it sort of encourages you to move on to the next. You feel that, since I've done this, then I can take on something maybe even larger or something even more of a challenge.
But what kind of bodily sensation would you be feeling? Like it's lighter?
Lighter, yeah, absolutely. Lighter. Like a huge burden has been lifted off of me.
Okay. And what would you be doing? Like, what kind of habits would you have? Or do you imagine that?
I don't imagine so much habits. I mean, I think I would imagine that it would just be easier for me to sit down every day and write a new chapter, or telephone people I need to telephone, seek out what I need to do, rather than make excuses for not doing it.
Okay. All right. What we're about to do right now is hypnosis. I'm not going to do anything that could hurt you, but I want everything that I'm about to do right now is going to help you. And for that to happen, I need your cooperation 100%. Is that agreeable? Do you have any questions before we start this session? Hypnosis cannot make you quack like a chicken, because we both know a chicken doesn't quack.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will not give me your bank account number on television.
Joke's on you if I did. So.
Maybe we do take care of that after this.
Once again, joke's on you if you get my account number and look up the balance.
All right, just sit back, relax, feet flat on the floor.
Sure.
I just want you to focus on a spot on the ceiling. And just pick a spot and just focus on that spot for a second. And just look at that spot in a vague and dreamy sort of way. Look at the spots as if you can see through the spots. Now I'm going to count backwards from 3 to 1. When I reach the number 1, I want you to close your eyes and go into a deep state of relaxation. Now when you close your eyes, I would like you to imagine that you're on a warm, tropic, sandy beach. You can hear the sound of the ocean. You can hear the sound of children playing. And you can feel the warm ray of the sun against your cheek. You can feel the warm ray of the sun on your forehead. You can feel the warm ray of the sun on the tip of your nose. And on this wonderful beach, you can feel the warm sand beneath your toes. You can feel the warm sand on your heels. And you may even feel your feet sinking into the sand, soft, moist, and sand for a second. 3, 2, 1. Sleep. Let yourself relax. Let go and sleep. That's right. Feel so cool, so calm, so relaxed. Still picturing that warm, tropical beach. You can hear the sound of the ocean waves crashing against the rocks, making splashes. You can still hear the sound around you in this room, but they will not disturb you in any way. Just let yourselves focus on the sound of my voice, and let the sound of my voice relax your spine as we drift further and further into trance, feeling so good, so calm, so wonderful. You can still feel the warm ray of the sun against your cheek, on the tip of your nose, on your forehead. As you sleep deeper and deeper down, more and more relaxed, feeling so good, so calm, so wonderful, so relaxed. Just let go and sleep even deeper. So good, so calm, so relaxed. When I count from 1 to 3, I want you to open your eyes and look at that same spot that you were staring at just a minute ago. But when I say the word sleep now, your eyes will slam shut, you go back deep into trance. And each time you go into trance, you'll go twice as deep into hypnosis. 1, 2, 3, eyes open, stare at the spot. That's right. Sleep now. Deep, deep sleep. More and more relaxed. Just let yourself go. That's it. Count from 3. Open your eyes and once again look into the bright spot on the same spot you've been looking at. Same spot that sent you into deep trance. Next time you go into trance, you're going to sleep 10 times as sleep. 1, 2, 3, eyes open. That's right. And sleep now. That's right. Deep, deep into trance. So relaxed. That's right. That's right. Sinking deeper and deeper down. More and more relaxed. Just let yourself go and sleep. Feeling so good, so calm, so wonderful. feel yourself sinking into the chair. That's right. Sinking further and further down into the chair. So calm, so wonderful. That there's nothing to worry about. That's right. Deeper and deeper down. More and more relaxed. At the count of 3, you'll feel that your eyelids become so heavy that they're glued tight shut. No matter how hard you try, you're not able to open your eyes. 1, 2, 3, try and you cannot. Try and you cannot. Okay. You can stop trying. And sleep even deeper. More and more relaxed. That's right. So good, so calm, so wonderful. Now, Emily, with each word that I say, you go deeper into hypnosis. And let the sound of my voice relaxes you. And let the sound of my voice drift into the unconscious part of the mind. Now, Emily, both you and I know that you're a very, very intelligent girl. You've graduated from college and you've accomplished a lot in life. So there's every reason to believe that you're intelligent, competent, confident person. And I want you to imagine that yourself in the future, that you're that Emily who's more improved and who has no fear of rejection. You'll find that you'll be much easily able to finish the task that you've started. Each and every day, you feel your nerves getting steadier and stronger, your mind getting stronger, your body getting stronger. You'll find that you have much more motivation to finish what you've started. When you go home tonight, you'll plan out an hour of your time, sit down and write your novel. You will not think too much about what other people is going to say about your work. You are not going to worry about what other people may think about your work. You will not worry about what publishers and editors may think about your work. Because you know you're a smart person and you have something important to say in your book. You've done a lot of research in your book, and you know that what you have to say is important and that your work is good. You find it easily able to complete your work. You will not dwell upon your difficulties. You will not dwell upon any irrational fear that they may reject you. When you write, you'll find a sense of accomplishment. With each word that you write tonight and in the future, you'll find that you become more confident with each key that you type on the keyboard, with each stroke that your pen wrote on the paper. With each word, you'll feel more and more confident. You'll feel happier and happier and happier. And you will not think about what the outcome might look like. And you will not think too much about what people may accept or may not accept your work. You'll find it very easy to have absolute concentration on the work that you're doing. You'll find that you have absolute focus to the point where you exclude everything else from your mind when you do your work. That's right. And when it comes to auditioning, when it comes to your acting and modeling career, you'll find that you will not think too much about things before you send out your resume and your headshots. You'll find that you have much more energy in your mind and in your body to just send out the things that need to be sent out to directors and producers. You'll find these things very easily to do. You'll find these things naturally able to accomplish. You will not think or dwell upon any difficulties. You will just do it, you'll not think too much about it. And when you do it, you'll feel happy, You feel a great sense of accomplishment flowing over you. You find this new sense of confidence, this new sense, this new identity of Emily overwhelm you, being a part of you, being a great partner. Yes. And when you walk around, when you write, when you letter to other people, you have this shield against rejection. Whenever people say, whenever there may be a rejection coming onto your way, or whenever you sense a rejection coming onto your way, they'll just bounce right off you. They'll bounce right off you. No negative energy is going to bother you at all. And you have this shield to protect you from any negative energy that may come into your mind or come into your body. Now I'm going to slowly count from 1 to 10. When I reach the number 10, you will come back to this room, wide awake, feeling great, feeling happy, feeling wonderful, feeling light, feeling like a ton of bricks have just lifted from your body. Everywhere you go, you'll find that you'll walk a lot lighter. You'll find that people are smiling at you. You'll find that people are happy about you. You'll find that you have a great sense of confidence, assurance, and esteem about yourself. As I count, you start coming back to this room. 1, 2, 3. Take a deep breath. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Coming back now, feeling like you've just left for the last 12 hours. 8, 9, and 10. Feels good, doesn't it? Thank you for coming.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
That's great.